Good afternoon. It's Tuesday the 13th of April, back in the Reading Nook. It's a slightly chilly, but it's a bright, sunny day. And I'm doing this much early in the afternoon, so I don't get the sound of the ice cream van going around. Because obviously I was doing it closer to the time when my children get out of school. Anyway, as you would expect, I have a cup of tea. Which is perfect for the weather, and I have some parcels. So let's get to the unboxing. Now I'm going to start, the first one I'm going to do today is I'm going to finish off this one which I started yesterday. So this has been delivered via Kickstone, and they handle distribution for a number of companies, including Chaosium. So you'll be no surprise, the first book out of this is Beyond the Mountains Madness, the campaign that came out at the end of the last century, and which I did an unboxing video of yesterday. So, delving a little deeper, what I also have in here, just the one more thing, is this. Out the way. So, horror on the Orient Express. Now, it's not quite survived in the packaging. It's not damaged, but it's merely a case of basically in the shrink wrap. It's you know, it's a big book, and there basically it's two big books in fact, because you've got Volume 1, London to the Alps, and Volume 2, Italy to Constantinople. Now, let's get this. So, Horror on the Orient Express. I've had a copy of that, in the original, in the tuck box, jam-packed tuck box for some time, and I've never really looked at it because we were always going to play it and we never got around to it. But I heard about it. I'd heard of playthroughs of it, and when it came to this version, which really the republication of kickstarted the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition came out about the same time, and I got involved. I mean, I backed it on Kickstarter. One of these days I would dig out my copy that I got on that, because that will make for an interesting unbox video, because I have a chest and I have lots of things in that chest. But the other thing, my relationship with this campaign is, I have, let me just show you, there's two things. I don't know whether it's in here, it's later in the book. Where are we? Anyway, I have an article in here on expanding the campaign, including other scenarios, and basically looking at various things which can be included in the campaign. Let's have a look. Just see if there's a. Sorry, yeah. I don't know whether it's in here. I would have to look closer. But essentially, I wrote an article about including scenarios in other scenarios from other source books in the campaign, which is really inspired by my contributions to the Mask of Nyarlathotep Companion, where I went through each of the chapters and said, you can use this scenario here and how it expands upon the original campaign. The other reason, okay, is I will show you. Let's have a look. I have to find it because basically lots of background on the campaign, stuff like that, which I will show you. Okay, definitely in here somewhere. Running the campaign, get to the first scenario. Thickens. Sorry about this. basically it's one of the things where you literally just opening up a book and going, oh yes, and there are. Let's have a look. I must be listed in here somewhere. Please. Okay. 268. I'm definitely okay. V. Let's have a look. There's something else in here. The V. Anyway, I actually appear as an NPC in here. I'm a victim of the Red Fairs. I'm in one of the scenarios here as a monster who, basically the investigators have to defeat. Anyway, so one of the great things about Call of Cthulhu campaigns is their scope and their scale. The great campaigns are, in some ways, they're global in scope. They're world-spanning. Master Nyarlathotep takes you from New York to London, to Egypt, to Kenya, to Australia, to Shanghai, or in any of those directions you want to go. Shadows of Yog-Sothoth brings you to confrontation with the cult dedicated to the eponymous Great Old One, at the heart of the mythos, Cthulhu himself. Now, Orient Express takes you on a mystery from London to Constantinople aboard the Orient Express. You have, let me see, Volume 1, Orient Express, London to the Alps. Man dies 3 times in one night. A puzzling headline begins a front page article found in the Times of London. 3 men, all identical in identification, were found dead in the same room of the Chelsea Arms Hotel, which basically is a nice nod to the death of Jackson Elias at the beginning of Master Nyarlathotep. All were dispatched by similar manner, stabbed through the heart. Then the home of a valued friend burned to the ground, severely injuring him in the process. An odd summons, a surreptitious meeting, and a 1,000-mile journey begins on the legendary rail service carrying the investigators to Constantinople, the gateway of the Orient. And essentially you're thinking, okay, of something like Murder on the Orient Express, travelling on a very luxurious train, and train travel is to a certain extent can be something of mystery, and there's a degree of it can be exotic these days, where most people don't travel on trains, and most people don't go on long train journeys. Orient Express contains a massive and legendary campaign of up to 19 adventures for the Call of Cthulhu campaign roleplay game. Beginning in 1920s London, the investigators journey to Paris and thence the ancient city of Constantinople. With luck, they also return home. Optional episodes are set in ancient times or special places, Roman era, Dark Ages, Gaslight, and the Dreamlands, so that players can experience the founding, creation, and discovery of crucial elements of this campaign. Also included is a modern-day coda to the storyline, an alternate ending for those wishing a shorter campaign, and a built-in survival guide to aid beleaguered investigators. Basically, that's the content redone on the back of the second book, and then we get into the core book. Now, this is arguably probably one of the last Call of Cthulhu books to really be done in black and white. Possibly Doors to Darkness might be the other choice, but I think beyond that, Chaosium after this basically began producing books in colour. So what we've got now, but the layout is really nice and tidy. It's so let's have a look. It's got nice layout. It's got plenty of thematic images. It's not just blocks of text. So when we're looking at the simple Orient Express, we have aerial photographs. That closer, and we're going through. We're discussing things like you come through and there's basically a section on non-fiction books, Chaosium fiction, and film references. Okay, for the setting of the campaign. Then we go on to Orient Express operations, who's aboard, the staff. It even looks at other Orient Express, because the thing is, people think about the Orient Express, okay, it goes from Paris to Constantinople, but there are other ones too, and they're discussed here, and the routes they take. Just leafing through, stops along the way. We've got a decent map there, a little dark, I think, in the reproduction. Basically, let's see what we've got here. So, this is a map of the routes of the. I don't want to drop my book. Of the Orient Express. So let's just that. So it's just not, that last sheet isn't coming out. There we go. So here we can see the different routes, different colours there, and they're mentioned in the book and are also on this map. But in the main, you'll be following the red routes, the Simplon Orient Express. So that's in the front of the London to Alps book. And then we've got basically scenario options, and scenario options. Following icons illustrate which scenarios form the main plot, which are core scenario, which are optional, and points where the campaign can become the scenario or campaign can become derailed. Now here's the thing: it's a fantastic touch. Use railway icons. That's really good. Part of the campaign, diverge, broken. That's really nice and simple. You know, there's a degree of thought in the layout there. And then when we actually get onto the campaign itself, you have this description of the campaign, and it's giving you the icons there. So here we go. Here's the article in question, which I wrote, which is essentially a continent of horrors, which is looking at horror across Europe. It's written with P.F. Jeffrey, and it's a combination of two articles here. And P.F. Jeffrey, and so here we go. Just there, contributed the fictional content. I looked at scenarios themselves that were figured, so it's quite a lengthy piece. You know, this is my bit, really looking at European Call of Cthulhu scenarios outside the 1920s. Here we go. And the things that could be included. I've not looked at this in quite a while. We are talking sort of like almost a decade since this came out. And lovely people got a piece by Celluloid Train Terrors by Carl T. Ford, the editor of the fanzine Dagon, which we all miss. Then we are into the first scenario. And we've got the famous three man dies 3 times in one night, 3 bodies in a hotel. There we go. That's what kicks off the campaign. And the nice touch, you've got a newsboy there with a hoarding, with the scenario, with that title there. So you could just show that to the players, and they'll get the idea. Obviously, they'll grasp it. We quickly go on to further scenario. We're getting deeper into. Here we go. Into the scenario. Then we've got basically the number of different sort of like introductory scenario, optional scenarios. Then we get into the blood red fairs, where we get into it's important not just basically just flipping pages through. Yes, there's a lot here. We'll keep going through here, and lots of stats here. Basically, player characters. I opted at the time to become an NPC, and basically, yeah, that's one of the things I backed at quite a high level. Basically, be an NPC and basically and get the chest as well. So yeah, we go on to different scenarios, and I think I would say perhaps is that the cartography is perhaps a little too dark there for ease of reading, ease of use, but on the whole, decent enough. So this first volume will take you through all the way to the Alps and the different scenarios on and off the train, because you're not always on the train. There will be lots of things happening on the train, but the scenarios will take the investigators off the train as well. And around in this, you've got basically space for keeper's notes, and you have calendar, keep track of the dates, maps such of London. There we go. And yes, if you can hear a flapping sound, I think there's probably a pigeon having a fight, or a crow or something above me. Now they've gone quiet. But, again, we get down to, we've got maps of Lausanne there. And this is just the first book. Plans of the train itself. There we go. And then we've got basically I mean, sample player characters and investigators like Roger Whipsnade, Lord Palfrey, age 9, Brat Peer of the Realm. And if you've not ever thought about the pleasure of playing a 9-year-old Brat Peer of the Realm, oh god, that would be immensely fun, I have to say. So yeah, plenty of player characters and replacement player characters and so on all the way down. Those investigators. And then we've got on to investigators such as the famous Mrs. Elizabeth Betty Sunderland, who these characters were all part of the playthrough of the campaign by the team at yogg-sothoth.com. Basically they also led to basically generating some fiction based upon the campaign as well, which you can still purchase. And that's not their own. That cast is not. Some of those casts also appear in the pre-generated investigators in the companion for Mask of Nyarlathotep as well. So that's the first book. I mean, that's a huge amount of information. and that will keep you going for months. And you've not even got to the second part, which is the second volume, and I'm not going to go through this quite so detailed, but you open up and it's sort of like nice use of period artwork and advertisements, and again, layout is really nice and clean, maps are good, yeah, we're going right down to the end. There's such a lot of information in here. Yeah, huge map content. I mean, that said, this will keep you going playing for months and months. So yeah, I mean, basically here we've got elements which basically take you back into the past. There's like an optional historical scenario, Sanguis Omnia Vincent, which is set in Constantinople for 1330, and would basically figure for if you were running, you would probably be quite a possible addition to basically Ave Cthulhu, the Call of Cthulhu setting for ancient Rome. So what else we've got in here? Dark Crusader, obviously set in period of the Crusades, Constantinople 1204. Takes you to Belgrade. There's camp scenario set in Belgrade as well, and more and more. Again, it's a very rich campaign, and you know, even after, I mean, it's surprising it's gone out of print, but box sets do that, because the thing is with box sets is they are expensive to produce, and there are lots of things in them, and especially there's a lot of things in this box set, and if you've got like something like the chest, there's even more. So that is Horror on the Orient Express, available once again in print, direct from Chaosium. If you don't get it in your local friendly gaming store, if you can, get it in your friendly local gaming store, because the thing is that always guarantees that your friendly local gaming store will be able to get more things for you because you are supporting them. So yeah, back in print once again. If you've not got it, worth getting for a classic early 90s campaign, and a chance to really explore Europe as essentially certainly the well-off would have explored Europe in the 1920s. Anyway, thank you very much for watching what is a fairly lengthy unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button down below, and if you've got any feedback or comments, then I do take time to respond. And lastly, if you want to see me back here in the Reading Nook with a cup of tea and something interesting to unbox, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon. Bye for now.